I have a lot of time, as you know, because I'm retired, and lots of time to put thought into what can I contribute to, what can I leave, what are some of the things that I can continue to give to the revival and to the building of our nation.
It's a success story that I want to relay. And possibly in doing that, I also want to point out what we have used as a solution. Now, I don't claim to have all of the answers, and I don't want to be projected here or to try to project myself as being the almighty in our organization and in our communities.
You've recently been published by Memorial University Press.
Yes, this again was a long time in the making, and when I finally had correspondence with the university, and they showed an interest in my book, in my manuscript, I was excited about it, because the intent of writing a book from day one was for the very purpose of being a collaboration with the university. I wanted to leave something that would have a shelf life. Many people, and I had many opportunities in my lifetime to go out and preach about identity and about the wrongs that had been inflicted on our people, especially when we joined Confederation in 1949, and the continuation of these wrongs up to the present day, if you look at the fiasco of the registration process. So all of these things are work in progress. And I wanted to, maybe being a little bit selfish, I'm not sure, I try to do an evaluation of myself occasionally, and maybe it was selfishness, but I thought that the message that I carried for 50 years needed to go a little longer, and the only way for it to go a little longer would be a book. It took a long time and a lot of help from a lot of people, I must say. I didn't want to write something that would create animosity in our people, because it's not about retaliation and it's not about giving even, but I wanted to write something that our people could read, and also I wanted to provide people with various other places that they could go and look at other things that had been written by other scholars and by people who had taken an interest in the movement after its formation in the early 70s. This would be a kind of a catalog of the events. With that in mind, I very briefly talked a little bit about myself, which I thought would be important from the perspective that I wanted readers, young people in particular, because that was my target. I wanted them to realize that you don't have to come from people who was considered to be the elite in society. You don't have to come from the rich and famous. If you believe and if you follow the truth, you can make a change, and I feel comfortable to say that I contributed to a change, particularly with the recognition and the identity of our people.
First of all, I think I should clarify that I have no expertise as such with the academics of forestry, and I have no forest-related courses, therefore I am non-professional in that manner. However, I do pride myself on my personal experience of the interior of Newfoundland and the wooded areas in particular.
I think the book is one of the things that I hope that will contribute to the challenge that we face. The biggest challenge that we face, I believe, is the weapons that have been used by colonialism. And the colonizers were very famous into using denial. And when denial didn't work, what they did was they inflicted shame on our people. That happened in the early 1900s, or after English took over what was earlier the French shore. The first attack was on the names. All the names were changed. If you were a Lejeune, you became a Young, and if you were a Leblanc, you became a White, and if you were a Benoit, you became a Bennett. So the colonizing of our names were the very first attack on our people, eroded the identity, and brought us into the mainstream society where it was supposed to be more fluent and astute if you were a Bennett rather than be a Benoit. So that was all part of the shaming, and I think that there's a continuation of that, and I wanted people to understand and to realize that we should never be ashamed of who we are. We should be very proud of who we are, and the only thing that we need to attack is we need to attack those two weapons that have been used against us: denial and shaming of a people.
At the outset, the book was called The High Road.
Yes, The High Road was a first thought, and as I looked at the intent and the content of the book as it started to shape, I realized that one man's journey would be much more appropriate, because there were so many people who had been involved in the Aboriginal movement in the earlier years, and people who drew me into their fold, that I felt that it would be impossible for me to be able to do justice to their part of the story and to all of those people. So rather than and even attempt to take that on, I decided that what I would do is that I would change the approach, and therefore I would also change the name. So this book, One Man's Journey, it's my story from a very early age to not that long ago. What I did do, however, is I included pictures of the founders, the warriors who were involved at a very early time. You know, the Marilyn John and Tony John and Jerry Wetzel and so on and so forth. I included pictures of those people, but I was very reluctant to talk about their motivations or their actions because that's their story, and I leave that to them.